A cold blade catches the faint moonlight before descending into shadow, ending a royal life in seconds. For 9 centuries, the Tower of London has stood as a silent witness to unutterable terror and dark betrayals. Thousands entered through its heavy iron gates, but many never walked out alive. Their terrifying final moments left behind echoes that refuse to fade away. In 1078, William the Conqueror built the massive White Tower to strike fear into Londoners. Its fortress walls were designed not just to defend against foreign invaders, but to crush any internal rebellion. Yet, as the Norman fortress expanded into a royal palace, its imposing stone towers quietly transformed into England's most infamous prison. The dark history was only just beginning. Deep beneath the fortress, subterranean dungeons held prisoners in suffocating darkness, where day and night blurred together. Damp stone corridors echoed with agonizing moans, while chains clanked against cold walls. Instruments of torment broke the strongest spirits before trial. Many inmates realized too late that entering these depths meant total oblivion, but royal blood would soon soak the castle grounds. In May 1536, Queen Anne Boleyn arrived at Traitor's Gate, swept along the dark Thames by royal order. Accused of treason and witchcraft by King Henry VIII, her glory had vanished in an instant. As heavy wooden gates slammed shut behind her boat, she knew escape was impossible. She was led to luxury quarters that quickly felt like a tomb. Inside the Great Hall, a rigged trial stripped the fallen queen of her crown and dignity. False allegations sealed her doom despite her eloquent defense. As night fell over the fortress, Anne spent her final hours praying feverishly in her chamber. Outside, carpenters erected a wooden scaffold in total secrecy. The executioner had been summoned from France for a swift strike. On a foggy morning on Tower Green, Anne Boleyn knelt gracefully upon the wooden platform. A sharp French sword severed her life in one swift blow, shocking the silent onlookers. Her body was hurriedly interred beneath the chapel floor without a proper royal funeral. Yet, death would not mark the end of her presence within these haunted fortress walls. Decades after her execution, guards began reporting terrifying encounters with Anne Boleyn's restless apparition. Night sentries spotted a veiled woman gliding silently toward the Chapel Royal of St. Peter ad Vincula, clutching her severed head. When challenged by terrified guards, the spectral figure vanished through solid stone walls. Similar encounters soon haunted another young, doomed monarch. Lady Jane Grey reigned over England for merely 9 chaotic days before her political rivals overthrew her. Plunged overnight from high royal nobility into a cold tower cell, the teenage queen became a helpless pawn. She watched helplessly from her window as her young husband was executed first. She knew her own terrifying fate was only minutes away. Confined within the Beauchamp Tower, Lady Jane carved poignant words into the rough stone walls while awaiting death. Her delicate hand inscribed messages of faith that remain visible to visitors today. Outside her chamber window, the terrifying shadow of the execution block loomed large under a pale sky. Her tragic stoicism shocked even her most hardened captors. Walking toward the scaffold as soft snow began falling, Jane remained calm, blindfolded before the executioner's block. Her execution horrified the nation, staining the castle's legacy with innocence lost. On anniversaries of her death, witnesses claimed to see her white figure standing mournfully atop the fortress ramparts, staring into the dark river below. But darker mysteries lay hidden within. In 1483, 12-year-old King Edward V and his younger brother vanished mysteriously within the Garden Tower. Sent there by their ambitious uncle, Richard III, the young princes were never seen alive again. Rumors whispered of smothering pillows in the dead of night, ordered to secure a contested throne. The royal palace had become a deadly silent tomb. Centuries after their mysterious disappearance, tower sentries reported seeing 2 small figures dressed in white nightgowns. Hand in hand, the ghostly children slipped silently along the inner curtain wall, weeping without sound. When guards approached the spectral boys, they dissolved into cold air. The chilling sight terrified experienced soldiers, leaving an unanswered question that lingered for generations. In 1674, workmen renovating a staircase near the White Tower made a horrifying discovery. Beneath 10 feet of rubble lay two small skeletons buried in a wooden chest. Medical examination suggested they belonged to children matching the prince's ages. Though buried at Westminster Abbey, their restless spirits allegedly remained trapped within the fortress that stole their childhoods. Not all prisoners met swift deaths. Some endured decades of confinement within the bloody tower. Sir Walter Raleigh spent 13 long years locked away, conducting strange chemical experiments to pass time. He watched royal court life continue without him across the Thames. Though granted brief freedom, he too ultimately faced the axe, leaving behind a legacy of restless ambition. In 1605, conspirator Guy Fawkes was brought to the Martin Tower after failing to blow up Parliament. Subjected to excruciating torture on the rack, his agonized screams echoed through the stone corridors. Today, visitors in those deep chambers report sudden drops in temperature, heavy air, and phantom moans when standing where his broken body once lay bound in darkness. Beyond human ghosts, supernatural phenomena took even stranger forms within the castle grounds. In January 1816, a guard near the Jewel House saw a massive phantom bear spring from beneath a door. Terrified, the sentry plunged his bayonet into the beast, only for the weapon to pass through air into solid wood. The bear vanished without a trace. The sentry was found unconscious by fellow guards, trembling uncontrollably from extreme psychological shock. He claimed the spectral bear had lunged directly at his throat before dissolving into mist. Tragically, the soldier died just 2 days later from pure terror. His shocking story remains one of the most well-documented supernatural encounters in the history of British military records. Guarding the grounds alongside human sentries are the famous ravens, protected by royal decree for centuries. Legend holds that if the ravens ever leave the Tower of London, the fortress and the kingdom will fall. Even today, 6 ravens are kept on castle grounds with trimmed wings, a living reminder of ancient superstitions that still govern royal traditions. Every night at exactly 10 o'clock, the chief yeoman warder performs the centuries-old ceremony of the keys. Lantern light flickers on wet cobblestones as guards lock the massive outer gates against the modern world. Yet, as the echoes of "God Preserve King Charles" fade, an eerie silence settles over the fortress, belonging entirely to spirits of the past. Night watchmen patrolling the ancient battlements today frequently report deeply unsettling sensations during the darkest hours. Sudden icy drafts sweep through enclosed stone stairwells even during warm summer nights. Unexplained heavy footsteps echo right behind guards along empty parapets, stopping instantly whenever the patrol turns around. The dark past stubbornly refuses to stay buried beneath modern London's gleaming skyline. Modern paranormal investigators equipped with thermal cameras and audio gear have documented shocking anomalies inside the walls. Electronic voice phenomena have captured whispers calling out ancient names in Old English. Thermal sensors record unexplained, human-shaped cold spots moving deliberately through locked chambers where no living person could enter. The evidence continues to baffle skeptical scientists worldwide. As the setting sun casts a blood-red glow over the White Tower, 900 years of tragic history seem to reverberate. Hundreds of men and women died on these grounds, victims of royal paranoia, political intrigue, and brutal execution. Their suffering built the foundation of a nation, leaving their spiritual energy forever imprinted on these ancient stones. The Tower of London is far more than a museum or a fortress of stone and iron. It stands as a living monument where the boundary between life and death remains razor-thin. Shadows stretching across cold cobblestones carry stories that refuse to be forgotten, inviting curious souls to listen closely to whispers echoing through time. As midnight strikes high over the Thames, thick river fog rolls across the ancient battlements, shrouding the White Tower in deep, impenetrable mystery. The historic fortress guards its terrifying secrets fiercely, keeping watch over London just as it has for nearly 1,000 years. Will you ever dare to walk its shadowy corridors and hear these haunting echoes yourself?